Hello everyone, this is Jasmine aka gladiatorinsweats, and I'm here with the full moon and full lunar eclipse reading for the collective for today, July 27th, 2018. So first off, I want to say happy full moon to everyone. I feel like it's almost just cliche to say, because I know everyone's like, or at least for me, I feel like we've just been all like wrapped up and ready to go for this like transformation, for this change, for this shift, and for all of this talk that's been going on. And I kind of don't even really want to so much like hype it up, but I really just, because here I really want to focus on the cards. I don't even really want to talk too much about any of the transits and stuff, because like I said in the daily, if you did not check that out, I feel like there's been so much like good content that people have been putting out about the full moon that I just didn't feel like called to, even really up until I was about to do this reading. I just felt like, because I had taken the notes and everything, but I was just like, I don't even need to take notes. Like, I mean, and I guess we can kind of talk about this as we get into the reading, because I don't even want to so much talk about myself, but I guess I just feel like the old way of doing things, I feel like on every level for me, it's not even so much about my outward interactions with people, which it is definitely, but also about with myself and with my own expectations of myself and what it is that I think that I need to do. In reality, I don't actually need to do so much quote unquote work. I can do this work and do it intuitively, and I can channel, and I don't need to feel like I have to like cover 21 bases because I want it's just like this perfectionist syndrome for myself. If I just wanted to talk about my own kind of ego issues that come to the surface, but I feel like this is something that may come up for others of you that are following me. So if this resonates, then just know that you're definitely not alone in this getting out of this complex and out of this paradigm of thinking there is some idea of perfection in the first place, of thinking that like that you should really feel any sort of regret for what you have done, or what you feel like you probably could have did better, or where you feel like maybe you completely messed up and that was like a total failure on your part. And it's even like the quote it's the first quote that you even see when you go on my website. You either win or learn, you never lose. And that's really the mentality to keep, and the energy to hold on to as we go through these next 2 weeks, of us really having to deal with it's not really just deal with the changes that we need to make, but it's we really have to be honest with ourselves, and really honest with ourselves, and having to be honest with other people too, but having an emotional maturity about it without stepping out of your integrity. But like I said, let's get into the cards. So this is a different spread. Definitely did not create this myself. It's just a spread that I found online, but I really felt that it resonated for like the message that I wanted to bring today. So hopefully this resonates with everyone and that it reaches them well. So just starting off here to the left of the spread, we have Judgment in reverse. We have Two of Rods with the Two of Cups, and then we have the King of Cups atop. And here, this is like our shadow. This is the parts of us that are being eclipsed, and the parts that are being affected, the things that are hiding, but we're needing to embrace. So just starting with this Judgment in reverse, the part of our life that's really completely changing is our complete idea of what it is that we feel we must do, our complete idea of what it is that we believe are, like, if you want to believe that you have, or not even want to, but if you believe that you have like a real, everyone feels they have a purpose, or at least I tend to feel, but like it's a burning, yearning purpose. Like even in this card, it's just very like, it's just flaming with like passion. It's the trumpet is being called, but it's with the fire. It's with the, you come because there's no way you can ignore it. There's no way you can ignore the heat. You can't ignore the change. You can't ignore the pull that it's this magnetic pull that's changing. And I feel with it in reverse, I feel like that's really about us actually having to face this. I feel we're having maybe a bit of a difficult time having to actually face the intuitive knowings that have been coming through, like the changes that we feel that we would need to make, the things that, like the moves we just feel like we have to make in order to really get the things that we truly desire, or the things we have to shed, or the places we have to leave, or the things we have to leave behind in order to go after what it is that we want. And I don't even feel like it's so much like a going after. I feel like it's really about it calling it in, and we're having some trouble doing that. And I feel like that's this shift is going to, or really this energy, you can look at it as a shift, and I feel like it is kind of like a shift, like the way that Uranus is right here. I didn't want to talk so much about the planets, but if you paid any I don't want to say paid any attention, if you watched my daily video, I did talk about Uranus and how I feel like it's really like the game changer. It's the switch that allows this to not necessarily just work, but it makes it so that it's such a fantastic and really awesome, in the truest meaning of the word, transformation. So with this Two of Rods and this Two of Cups, though, here I feel this is about, even the way these clouds are like coming out from behind this couple here, I feel like this isn't necessarily just about any sort of romantic partnerships, but I feel like this is about all of our relationships where we're really having to take a look, or the parts of our friends and the people that we're connected to, their shadows start to come out. Like we're starting to almost like mirror each other's like egos, even the way they're looking at each other in these cards. Like I can never get over this Two of Cups card in this deck, because it's not so flowery and like romantic like some of the other decks that I own. They're very much like they're meeting eye to eye, but it's like a meeting eye to eye of like, okay, so we've got some unfinished business to settle, or we've got some sort of clashing of energies that is creating this sort of storm. Even with this Two of Rods, I feel like this is external. It's an emotional connection that's being worked out. It's happening emotionally and spiritually, but it's happening also, I feel, in the physical with this Two of Rods, where I feel the character can be changing, the way that this person, you don't really see their face. So I feel like, again, there's this feeling of whoever this person is, I feel the key to remember is that it's a mirror, and there's a lesson, there's some sort of working out of both parties issues that they both essentially agree to on a higher realm to work this out. But with this King of Cups above, though, I feel like this is about us having to maintain this emotional maturity. In both this Judgment card and this King of Cups, there's this still water. It's very, like, fixed. And so I feel like this is... I feel like this is about us holding that same energy, or really being able to not even hold that same energy, but being able to maintain our composure even as we're able to perceive other people's perspectives. Like, we're able to humble ourselves and able to receive, and we're able to not just receive, but we're able to give love. We're able to actually give our love. We're actually able to forgive. Maybe that's really what's at the heart of this reading, is forgiveness. Especially, like I said, with all of this, like, heavy energy. I don't even want to say it's dark energy, because I mean, it's just heavy. It feels heavy. It feels very it just doesn't feel good. Because I don't even want to say negative. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel... It feels like there's something that needs to be worked out. So here to the right side, what's keeping us from embracing the light? I think it's very interesting that we have this Four of Rods here. And I feel this is actually about what we expect this reunion to look like. If this isn't, if this resonates with you as a partnership, I feel like this is it's not necessarily that it's like harmony that's keeping us out of this balance, but it's having to see eye to eye. Like, the way that these rods are looking, you know, they're even, and that's what allows this banner to flow very evenly. I guess that's what I feel here, is that there's a need to... It's not even about lowering ourselves, but it's really about humbling ourselves to be able to open ourselves to receive what someone it may be speaking to us, you know, in their own integrity, when they're letting us know how we may have hurt them, or whenever we're just hashing out whatever needs to be hashed out. But here in this, you know, what it is that we need to accept and move past. We have this Three of Rods with Four of Cups, which came up today in the daily reading. And then we have the Eight of Swords. And so what we have to do is be able to look at all of... To look at these situations again as opportunities to learn about love. I can't remember like how long ago I said this, but I feel like every interaction, it's all a lesson in love. And you know, partnerships and marriages, like, that's like, I don't even want to call it like a higher or lower level, but it's just a different level, a different lesson of love. It's all these lessons of love. And you know, romance and joy and ecstasy in love, you know, those are all the awesome bonuses of getting to enjoy this, you know, physical, tangible experience. But, you know, being able to look at it from a place of, you know, it being a lesson of love, as opposed to be, you know, this trap, or being this place where, oh, these are things that are just happening to me and I don't get to have any sort of control, and I have no choice. No, you have choice. You have, it's up to you to, you know, especially if you feel the signs, and if you feel you're getting some sort of synchronicity, some sort of signs, it's also like kind of giving you confirmation about what you're seeing, or what it is that you're picking up on, then you need to lead with that, and you need to go with that. And ignoring that is you staying in this self-imposed prison. It's not really anyone keeping you within this space, because it's, you know, it's just the basic concept of once you're aware, or, you know, when I think people say it's like once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. It's that same sort of feeling I get of once you're aware, like, you can't really just go back to being. I mean, you can try, or not even just you can try, but you can like avoid it, but then you continue to deal with the struggle until you face the issue. You face ultimately yourself. With this Hierophant here at the top of, what we should be leaving behind. Excuse me. This Hierophant here, I feel like this is about really leaving behind everything that we've been taught in the past. The Hierophant can be about, knowledge and about education, but it can also be about, conformity. And at the root of it, it's even when you think about, education, it's what you're being taught. And so what we're needing to leave behind, or what we're needing to reassess in order for us to release and leave behind, is what we've been taught, what it is that we've been told is the way to life, or the keys to success. Even when you see these keys here, every time I see keys, I think of Chiron. I think of, the key symbol that it has in astrology, or it looks pretty similar. And so I think about that in Aries. I believe that's actually trining. Yes, it's trining the sun at this time, while it's also squaring Saturn. And so with it squaring Saturn, it's really having to, go to head with the current structure, with the way things have always been, with, the way that it's been carried out generational, or what it seems to be stable. But it's, I feel, especially with it retrograde and, Chiron's retrograde, and we have all of these elements that are retrograde. We have 6, I believe it may be 6 planets. It'll be 7 planets retrograde when Uranus jumps into the mix for a bit, or not even for a bit, for a while Mercury's still retrograde, and then eventually, it'll go direct, and then we'll have, less. But I digress. The whole point is just to say, I really get this feeling of getting this opportunity to realize how our truest part of ourselves, the parts that we have felt insecure, or the parts that like we felt we couldn't really embrace about ourselves, we start to see that those were the keys. Like, those were the parts that led us to be able to see like what we really enjoy, what really makes us happy, what allows us to embrace our heart, what allows us to open up our love to other people, what allows us to accept love from other people. So this could even be about the lessons that we may have learned in love, the things that we have been told about the way love is supposed to work, about how a relationship is supposed to work. When we look at this 4 of Rods, maybe the things that we may have been told, and not even just told, but the things we have picked up on. It's not so much the spoken things, which those definitely count, but it's the body language too that I feel, especially a lot of us that, can pick up on this energy, and we do feel it, even if, it's not spoken. It's like we may have picked up on these patterns, just these patterns of the way that we've learn to connect with other people. But it's like there's another way, there's a new way to love, there's just a new vision for how you even want to enjoy love. Going here, even when we get to the center of this spread, where what's expanding, what's growing in our life, it's our community, our circle of loved ones. This is our, our friends. This is our, soul family. Even when you look at this Judgment card, this is, this soul family that's calling you and saying, come back home, or, it's ready for you. We're ready for you to come back if you are ready to come back. I'm not even sure if it's the prodigal son or if it's prodigal daughter, but either way, I get this feeling of like having been away and having to leave in order to learn these lessons. But it's like now you're able to really come back and embrace yourself. But there's this feeling of like, can I really even embrace this? Like feeling like maybe we're really just like an accumulation of everything that we've done before. Am I really just a bunch of choices? And it's no, there's love, there's soul in this, there's a reason about all of this. But back to the spread here with this Three of Cups, and I feel this is also about enjoying more of the fruits of life and enjoying more abundance of love. And I just love the way that, it's just a group of people with a bunch of fruit, and it's, it's fruit of the soul, fruit of the earth. It's just abundance. It's the seeds that we've planted, and there's this harvest here. There's this harvest that's able to be reaped. Even when you look at this Death card, and he's reaping this flower, and this is the message that the moon has for us. And so I feel that's ultimately, it's very even symbolic. Before I even get to the rose, with this very blood red moon element here, and even like what I imagine is the river in the back. And so I feel like this is this current of water, and I mean just the element of water that the moon controls. And so I feel like there's definitely this purging, this changing, this transformation. There's this removal of the old, this pruning, in order to, grow more. And I think that's even like a method of like gardening, I believe, where you can I'm not even sure the name of it, but it just came to my mind, where you're able to like clip and cut in certain places so that it's able to grow more abundantly, so it's able to continue its growth in a different path or in a different pattern, but in a more expansive pattern usually is what this method's used for. But ultimately, I feel like that resonates here even with us on a spiritual level. And so I love this Strength card here about what emerges. And I feel this is about us really being able to fully embrace this Leo starness, this royal power, this confidence of knowing who they are, and it's fixed, and it's very like stable. And I feel like this is about, again, more of this root chakra being but it's pure. It's pure in its form, but it's tamed in a sort of way where it's able to know when to react and when to not. It knows when to bite and when to kind of maybe growl a little bit to kind of let someone know what's up. Like, that's kind of the feeling I get here. Even with these volcanoes in the back, it's like, it's not necessarily like it can't pop off. It's not like they don't have we don't have the power to clap back. It's about knowing when, and it's all in divine timing ultimately. Even when you think about volcanoes and the natural synchronicity of things just going with the flow, and really knowing, like I said, divinely, when it's time to release and when it's time to just kind of, all right, let me just absorb that and maybe even just transmute that. Even when we have this Knight of Rods here at the bottom of the deck, even underneath that we have this Temperance, and then underneath that the Rod of Swords, the Ace of Rods. And so I do feel this is about there being a cleansing process, this like almost like baptism that takes place, where the rod that this knight uses, it's more righteous, it's more pure in essence, it's more raw, but it's more of this, again, it's the ace, it's before it's even gotten into any sort of it hasn't broken off from the root at all. Hasn't descended. We're at the ace, we're at the root of your power. And so I feel like, back into what I was saying, I feel there's this purification process. There's this illumination. There's this higher frequency of power. I feel here, where this knight is now accepting this higher, just more, just fuller and complete power. And I feel like it's this royal power, it's this birthright. It's not even like it's being like granted to you. It's really about you just getting it back. It's you, the divine, kind of handing it to you and really bring it to you to be like, look at yourself. Look at what you are. Look at what you can be. Look at what you really are when you're able to peel back all of the struggle, not just the struggle, but when you're able to really get out of the maze. You can even just look at life as almost as living in the lost woods, and coming out of it is almost having this like enlightenment, or this just this attainment of higher knowledge. And not just higher knowledge, again, even with the Hierophant and the King of Cups in this sort of relative reflection here. Again, there's these lessons in love, these lessons in emotional maturity, these lessons in compassion, these lessons in empathy and sympathy, and being able to, even when we do get frustrated and we do get triggered and we're just like, that doesn't really vibe with me, able to kind of use that to really look at what's really being presented here, what's really the lesson behind this, like what's really the ultimate the ultimate, like what's the energetic dance that's going on here. So getting here into this oracle card, we have the cosmic heart, and it's even the number 8, and I feel like it just totally resonates with this strength card energy, and I feel like it just even totally resonates with the visual of this moon, of this red, this even in the, when we do start to see it in the full night sky, the dark blue of the what feels mysterious, what feels hidden to us, what we consider the night. And then there's this cosmic heart. And so I actually want to read the passage, because I always just love the passages. And so I feel like it probably is going to just sum this up perfectly. So, there is a time on the journey of love when the beloved, that would be you and me, sweet soul, is prepared to engage more completely with the heart of the divine lover. The preparation will be a rich process, spiritually speaking. It may also feel like being beaten, pummeled, simmered, and stirred in the pot of the divine master chef to become a sacred and savory meal fit for the most heavenly of feasts. This is a courageous and bold process, one that will create the most delicious aromas in the soul. And yet it is one that will likely take us right to the places we would rather avoid, places of confrontation with pain, but where the loss of its grip on our being no longer lets us quake and retreat from life in fear or uncertainty. You have been through these tantalizing trials, the push to surrender fear, the realization your attempts at control amount to not so much, actually. So why not abandon them altogether? The trials have asked you to confront every part of your being that holds itself back in resistance to what is, in resistance to what life presents at this very moment. You have been asked to become comfortable with the possible discomfort of not knowing, and to understand you don't have to understand anything for life to work out with perfect synchronicity and generous grace. You have been asked to bear darkness without losing hope for the return of the light. You have been asked to trust in your own heart wisdom when your mind was terrorized by nightmares and hallucinations of fear. They were so powerful you were certain they must be real, that you must be crazy not to run and hide somehow, somewhere. And yet here you are, still loving, still wise, and ready for a love bigger than you have ever experienced before. So we step forward together, you and I. I link my arm through yours and I urge you on. Let us run together and jump over the edge. No more half living in any way for you and me. We will weep crystal clear tears, and we will laugh with such joy that stars will burst forth, borne upon our exhalations. We will hear the beating of the cosmic heart pounding in our ears, and how we shall dance to it. That sacred, intoxicating rhythm moves hips and hands and hearts, raising the soul from slumber. But that heart does beat so loud. It can be startling to the parts of you unused to such wild, unconditional affection and rowdy playfulness. You may worry that this great love is not going to be careful enough with you. What if you get tossed around in the great oceans of love? You will surely be disoriented and become lost in the world you once knew. How then will you know where to go? But fear not, my soulmate. Love has its wisdom and its way. We shall become lost in its genius together. Whilst our minds are tipped this way and that, tumbled in love's great waves, we shall be forced to surrender our useless intelligence and become mindless. Then how easy it shall become for the perfection of love to guide us, for there shall be nothing within to question and resist. We will no longer have to find the way, for we will have become the way. So this oracle comes with special guidance for you. More love is rushing towards you like a great cosmic tsunami. You will struggle with this blessing to the extent that you will attempt to hold on to what has been. So don't. Let it go and let it move you. You'll perhaps get some water up your nose, but nothing will come to you that you cannot handle. You'll be disheveled somewhat, undoubtedly. Yet as you are washed up upon love's shining shore, keeping every hair in place will be the last thing on your mind. You'll be too caught up in the wonder of perfection, realizing how deeply loved you really are and how unnecessary it is to contrive a way to even live your purpose. So instead, you'll have no idea what's going on. You'll be surrendered and passionate embrace with life, simply being your exquisite, crazy, unique self, saturated with divine love. It will drip from you, out of your feet, your eyes, your voice, your touch. You'll water the earth with love's oceanic presence. Oh, how tsunami will deliver you into your divine destiny. No need for any contrivance. Let your hair get messed up. Your destiny awaits you now. And so before I go into the sacred honoring ritual, I even just want to mention this AQUARIUS card here at the bottom of the deck. I love that the number is 13, which is like so symbolic for this next upcoming galactic year for everyone. I'm still working on putting out a video for the new galactic year because there's not necessarily it's like a lot to talk about, but there's just been a lot going on in my own life, so it's just been kind of on the back burner. But I digress. I love this arise, and I see this about us, our truest essence coming out of this shell, like almost out of this, like this. Yeah, I think of like this exoskeleton that it doesn't serve us anymore. Almost out of this like just old, like small and closed off shell. I think of a hermit crab, where we're able to kind of choose a new shell. We get to choose a new persona. We get to choose a new being, a new way of being. It's not even really a new way of being, but it's our truest way of being. It's our most pure, our most childlike, our most not necessarily like enlightened, but it's most in light and spirit. And so getting into the sacred honoring ritual, I just want to say, I will say this aloud so you can say this mentally along with me. So first off, place your hand on your stomach and the other over your heart. Focus on your breath flowing gently in and out. When you are ready, say the following aloud. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally with all the wild love and unconditional affection of the universal heart, help me now. I trust in my own heart wisdom and in the truth of your love for me. Please help me trust in the flow of life. let go of my fixed plans and ideas, and open up to the genius of love itself. May I realize that my destiny will unfold with absolute perfection, and may I trust in the signs I am given. May I be able to release any false guidance based on fear, and may I open up instead to genuine guidance and inner knowing based in love. Under the grace of your protection, may this be so. Feel the warmth of your hands on your body and just breathe. When you are ready, simply place your hands in prayer position and bow your head gently to your hands. This is your simple and powerful action that reminds you of this truth. Your head is supposed to bow and honor the heart, not try to dominate or control it. And so we have completed the sacred honoring ritual. And with that, we've also completed this reading. And so I thank you so much for viewing, for watching this, for your energy and your love and support. I'm just so humbly gracious and just in accepting the appreciation. I've just been it's not even like it's been overwhelming, but it's just the small things that overwhelm me, and it just makes me so happy when people do resonate, or that people do get a reading and it's exactly what they needed to receive, or it's the message that they really did most need to hear, because that's ultimately what I wish to do, is just to bring the message that most needs to be received without expectation to how it's presented. And that's really what I ultimately feel the lesson is for all of us. And so I guess that's really just the focus of my channel, and just of what I want to do is just to help people further onto their spiritual path, but it's ultimately further on their path to their divine love, or their path to their love with the one, which is ultimately with Source, but we're able to experience it through other people. And so it's just really amazing when you're able to experience it in so many multifaceted levels. You don't get to just feel it in such a 3D based level. You're able to feel it through being, aligned with, the synchronicity and the flow of things, when you're, picking up on signs, and you're able to just take, joy and feeling that connection, and feeling like even in our rough times, and you get that synchronicity, or you get that that knowing, or just excuse me, watch that video or hear that song that just reminds you that actually you're doing all right, that if you're feeling, that means that you're here, that means you're alive, that means you're not dead, that means you're actually embracing this experience. And so that's something to be applauded, and something that you should feel proud of, regardless of how many punches you feel that you're taking at this time, because even the best and greatest get hit sometimes, and it's not about how many times you get hit, it's about how many times you stand back up, and how much you stand in your belief in yourself, and how much you just believe in your greatness, regardless of what happens on the outside and how things may look, just believing in you. So I would just end it there. As always, feel free to check out any of the previous content. Feel free to follow me on Instagram as well for it's not necessarily, I guess, more frequent content. That's usually where I'll let you know updates, just because I've been pretty busy. But I'm just continuing to flesh out what it is that I really, as much as I can say, as much as what I want to do, but really fleshing out what it is that I feel guided to do, what it is that I feel guided to do, to really support everyone as we support each other going through all of this. So, yeah. And with that said, do feel free to check out my website. All of this information, including links to the website and stuff, you can go there for info on readings and whatnot. all of it's there with like descriptions and stuff. And I'm also continuing to work on the website, as well as putting out different readings and just different material for everyone. So it's just been a process for everyone as much as it's been for me. So I guess it's just really cool to be able to experience this with all of you. So I hope this reaches you all with love, and I send you many, many blessings. I'm actually recording this about 20 minutes or so, less than 20 minutes before the eclipse technically takes place. So happy full eclipse to everyone. And by the time that you see this, I believe the eclipse may be over. Hey, you actually might be checking it out during the eclipse. So again, I just hope that this reaches everyone well and it resonates where it needs to resonate. So with that said, until next time.